everyone, and welcome to Best of the Month, the monthly show where I invite some creators on to talk about what we've enjoyed board game wise in the last month. These don't have to be brand new games. In fact, for me, I've played a few different brand new games this month reviewed on the channel, and neither of those were my best of the month. But without me rambling on too much, let's pass over to the BoxedMeeples to see what they picked this month.
Yes, March, Aircon. We've played so many games in March. It's kind of been tricky to pick which ones have bubbled up to the top.
It has. I mean, there are several that I thought were pretty good contenders. We did play some of the prototype games whilst we were at Aircon, so I've kind of not included those. Just because I feel like they'll have their time later, and maybe something that's actually out, available to get, would be best. And there are a couple that we've talked about quite a lot recently. But there was just so many great ones to choose from.
I was kind of torn between two. So I was torn between Blood and Cocktail, which everyone knows how much we enjoyed if they've watched any of our Aircon coverage. Yeah. But I think that's more dependent on the group you're with, and having only played it once, I don't feel like I fully engage with it as much as I could do.
Yeah, you want to get to know all those roles and how everything kind of intertwines together more.
So I think more of a kind of future favourite. But a game I really did enjoy was called Micro Moonshine. Now, I got this game recently, but I backed it years ago on a crowdfunding campaign. It's been about a year. And the reason I did was because I love Distilled. And also I love kind of that Prohibition era. That I was quite fond on that. We went to a speakeasy where we're in Las Vegas. So I'm always quite attached to that. But I'd never heard of these micro games before. Obviously, I've heard of micro games, really small ones, but not the kind of brand micro. And they've been like Micro Architects and I think Microcosmos and things like that before. Essentially, they're kind of a competitor for kind of Tiny Epic. Very similar logic of big board game experience, little box, plays quickly. And Micro Moonshine ticks all of those things. There's lots of kind of individual elements I like in it that kind of contribute to just a really fun game. At its heart, it's order fulfillment. People want certain different types of booze, usually your whiskies and your rum and your wine and your moonshine. People are asking, give us this stuff, and it's your job as definitely not the mafia to fulfill that. It's worker placement to acquire, obviously, your ingredients from a general market, to then turn that into the booze that the people want before your opponent gets a chance to do that. And it's a relatively quick game, 4 rounds, 6 actions each turn. So not
you get
a lot
people that help you along the way, don't you?
Yeah, by the very beginning of when you're playing, you have this card drafting system where you have 4 different characters, and you can choose to keep one as long as you can pay for them, and they have an individual ability. You then pass the 3 on. Or you can keep someone from your hand and not pay anything for them, but they then don't have an ability or a special trait, and they are just bootleggers. So that's when the hate draft comes in more than ever, because by round 2, you know what your opponent needs to do. You can see what orders are coming. You can kind of see the groundwork they're laying. So then you can just take a card and just lay it down as a bootlegger. They're no use to you, but it means your opponent hasn't got that. I also like the card market mechanism, where you can take 2 different things from the market or all of the things of one type. So if there's a load of sugar out there, you can just scoop up the whole market and add it to your hand, which may or may not be useful because these cards also act as dirty money.
I do like to do that when it's water, because you need water for like all of the recipes, no matter what you're doing. So if you can take the water away from your opponent, it helps you to be able to create whatever you want, but also I think is more detrimental to them when you don't know what they're doing.
Get more dirty money from it.
Get loads of dirty money from it.
I love the whole theming of it. Beautiful card art. And yes, it's not the same game as Distilled, of course not. It's very different to that. This is much, much lighter, but plays in an hour, and it does kind of scratch that order fulfillment itch, which you don't have a lot of games that do in this way. So delighted with this.
For me this month, I am going with a biggie. We have got it on its way. It's one of those Kickstarter regrets, but it is on its way after having played it 4 players just before Aircon, and then we were hoping to play again at Aircon, and then just time got away from us. So that was a little bit annoying, but I absolutely adored Galactic Cruise. Everyone's sort of saying, oh, it's got that Lacerda feel to it.
Yes, it is a dense, heavy game.
Helped by the Ian O'Toole art, which is wondrous. But I mean, who doesn't want to work in a company that sends people out on leisure cruises into space? And, you know, you set up your spaceship and it might have a board game convention in it. I mean, it might have a holodeck. It might have paintballing. Like, there's all these fun, silly things on there. And I really like that in a serious, crunchy game where you've got that banter about, well, my spaceship's got this on board, so, you know, my customer's obviously going to have a much better time. But in itself, all of those actions and things, there's so many choices to make.
It really is.
It's really important where you put your development so that you can maybe take actions of different areas. People might have to pay you to go to places. People might boot you out and give you lots of money. Certainly in our 4-player game, that happened loads.
Yes, it certainly did.
Those cards that were there were, I mean, for one of the players particularly, really managed to use them really well, and they're really instrumental to getting great legs up in the game. So you may take an action and then also receive money, or there's lots of different options in all the cards, but they're always giving you a really great benefit. And because all of the resources and the types of things you can do are quite tight, those benefits just feel huge.
Yeah.
But what I really did love is when you go out on these cruises and you stop at the different places, depending on how long the cruise is, you get to sort of, if you've sent the right people there and all of that, you then get to sort of drop someone off at the right planet. And the benefits you get from doing that are fantastic. So one of them that I got every time I moved up the reputation track, which incidentally you can move down to gain benefits, fantastic. But I then got to get the benefit whenever I moved up it as well. So that was little things like that, which just makes such a difference.
There's
so great.
So many different decisions you do, but when they chain together, that's when you start whizzing around that score track. You know, when you've got a planet where it's benefiting to have more blue on board and you've got a combination of lots of blue, you are building up that bonus and bonus and bonus.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about it a lot more when our copy arrives. We're going to do a lot more coverage on it, so I don't want to go too deep into it, but it is out of this world.
I can see why it was huge at Aircon. Everyone wanted to play it. There wasn't enough opportunities to play it. People were hoarding around it, and I think deservedly so. So far, one of the best games of the year.
Yeah, and those components, they're fantastic too.
So for my pick, well, there was a couple of choices. As I alluded to at the start of the video, I've played a few different new games, brand new games in terms of Res Arcana Duo and the new 2-player Azul Duel. Neither of those actually I found were spectacular games, although I enjoyed them. The one that really stands out though has to be Thunder Road Vendetta Maximum Chrome. It's recently arrived from Kickstarter. I'd only ever before been able to play it digitally as part of the Kickstarters they've put up on Tabletop Simulator and online. Basically a version of the game, the basic version of the game. I've now got the full Beans edition, effectively, coming with more types of cars, card abilities that you can add to your cars, and well, so much more. It's a real thrill of a game, and it revolves around a mechanism that most people would completely ignore: roll and move. In this, you are rolling your dice, and then on your turn you'll assign one of your dice to one of your cars. You have a big one, a little one, and a small one. And, well, depending on the size of them, when they crash into opponents' cars, one player might have the ability to say, I don't like that roll, I'm a bigger car, so you can re-roll it when you're ramming them and you're rolling those slam dice and a car goes flying off in another direction. You're going to drive over hazards. These could be, well, they could be a jump that sees you zooming on. It could be a landmine, or, well, other things that are also going to be bad for your car, such as ice, oil, and all that sort of squelchy shininess that's making your car skid or spin off or whatever, and you're going to have to deal with it. It's an absolute blast to play because it's pure chaos from start to end. And it ends in a player normally being eliminated. It's very rare that you actually finish the race, which is normally about 5 tiles long. Normally, one player gets eliminated and then it's, well, whoever's going to get to the end of the current tile quickest. I'm not normally a fan of just rolling and moving, but, well, you can just use it as part of the chaos. There's also ways to mitigate, such as NOS or Nitro that you can use, spending another dice, going a bit further, and, well, often, actually, if you're rolling a 6, you're not always moving 6 along. You might have crashed into someone after 4 spaces, that sort of thing. You're going to be using your helicopter to shoot people, your cars to shoot people. So there's more dice to be rolled. It's not all about just that one roll for the movement. The other side of things that I'm not normally keen on is that player elimination, but because of when it's done, most of the game is over, 90% of the game is done, and it's still fun to watch the chaos unfold, well, then you can just sort of sit there and be like, yep, I was eliminated, but this is a lot of fun watching. And it's one of those games that the fun is from the journey, not necessarily from winning. And that's what you want. Think Mad Max, think chaos, and that is Thunder Road Vendetta. And I've just had so much fun with it this month. Anyway, that about wraps us up this month. A huge thanks to the Boxed Meeples for coming on and letting us know what their favourite games for the month, their best of the month was. And of course, let us know in the comments section below what you would have picked. Like I said, I've reviewed both of these brand new-ish games on the channel recently, and, well, neither of them made my best of the month. Well, read into that what you will. Go and find out some pros and cons there. And, well, while you're here, subscribe, like, all that sort of jazz, and until next month, have a great month gaming.